Welcome to the Shellside Spurs show for match week 4. This week we've got Jens, Ricky Villa. Say hello, Jens, Ricky Villa.
Hello, Jens, Ricky Villa.
We've got Rezimus Prime down below me here. Say hello, Rezimus Prime.
Good evening.
Kevin down there. Say hello, Kevin.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, all. I've just realised I've left my book over there, my Spurs on this day in history. What an amateur.
Oh, no.
This was such a professional gig.
Jens, you're going to have to feel, Jens.
Okay.
Jens,
on this day in history, back in 1996, I believe that I was probably quite drunk in a pub on a kibbutz in Israel.
Excellent.
So, yes.
That doesn't really narrow it
Aren't
down.
these supposed to be sort of like unique? You being drunk somewhere is
part of the course, isn't it?
It's a daily occurrence. So
Right.
Absolutely.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
17th of September, 1956. Floodlights were still in their infancy, and their novelty meeting. Oh, Jesus. Shall I start again?
Where's Jesus?
Floodlights were still in their infancy, with their novelty meaning that the Scottish and English FAs created a competition to get full value out of them. Spurs took on Hibernian in Edinburgh in the Anglo-Scottish Floodlight Cup. It wasn't an official tournament, as no bodies had ratified it, forcing the matches not to be played as friendlies. Spurs dominated the match in the Scottish capital from start to finish, running out 5-1 winners, with goals from Bobby Smith 2, Danny Blanchflower, Tommy Harmer, and Terry Dyson. Surely we've got to add that to our trophy list, haven't we?
Yeah.
We are the 1956 Scottish Floodlight Cup winners.
Scottish Floodlight Cup winners,
Don't West Ham include the Intertoto Cup or something? So,
well, we put it alongside our Audi Cup triumph.
Peace Cup, mate.
Yeah.
Anglo-Italian Cup.
Anglo-Italian Cup, yeah.
Good picture for you there, Kev.
Nice.
Yeah. Mal.
Is that Patton? Who's that with him?
Mallory, isn't it?
Mallory. Alan Mallory.
Okay.
Look at those pork chops on Pat Jennings there. Look at that.
Yeah.
Mungo Jerry.
Mutton
Yeah.
What a kit that is as well. Classic kit. So this week we were going to do my White Hart Lane story with Jens, weren't we? Are you ready to do it this week, Jens, or did you want to look at that look of fear in his eyes there? We've not done yet. We were going to do. Oh, Jens, you're on mute, mate.
Yeah, he's on mute. Yeah.
On mute.
Okay, hold on. Before we start, we should have a sweepstake as to how many times the word drunk will turn up.
Over 10.
Okay, anyway, carry on.
Let's get underway then, Jens. I'll be interested to know some of these answers. So, why Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
Well, I was born in Denmark. My mother's English, my father's Danish. We moved to the States when I was 1.5 for about 3 odd years, and then we came to England. My mother's from Hastings originally, and her parents died quite young. And there was a couple who kind of looked out for her and took care of her. And he was originally from Potter's Bar and was a massive Spurs fan. When we came over in 1980, he didn't take us to a match because of the hooliganism, and I was 4 and my brother was 7. So I don't think he was going at that time as well. But he took us to the shop and we got FA Cup final flags. Scarves and pins. And I only have the scarf left, which is actually my brother's, but I kind of, I still have that. And then, so ever since then, it's been Tottenham.
Excellent. So moving on to the next question, your first home game. Can you remember the score and the scorers? And what do you remember most about the day?
The thing I remember most about the day was the walk from the car, because it was so long. I think it was 1987 against Forest at home. 1-1, and I think it was Chrissy Waddle who scored.
Nice. What a first goal scorer.
I can remember the reason I really remember that match is because there was a bloke called Brian Statham playing at right back, who I'd never really heard of. You know, I'd seen all the bigger players, and he was just breaking through from the U team. I think he went on to make about 10 appearances that season, and they shipped him off to Brentford, and I don't know where he is now. So. Sorry about that.
Yeah, massive blast from the past. Remember Brian Statham?
I think we sat in the. Was the new West Stand there at that time, or was it still the old one?
87.
That was the old one, wasn't it? Because wasn't it under Sugar that we read?
Yeah, I think it's the old one.
Redeveloped that.
Okay, yeah. So I think we sat in the West Stand because I can remember being quite high up at the side. I don't think we were on the shelf because I think the shelf was where most of the action used to happen in those days. So yeah, I think we were in the West Stand, and yeah, it was not the most memorable first game, but yeah.
Do you remember seeing the grass for the first time?
I don't. No.
No. We'll move swiftly on then. Your first away game.
First away game, funnily enough, was in Denmark against Brøndby. Back in '98, I was wasn't doing an awful lot in England, and my dad said, "Well, you know, you need to do something with yourself. I think you should go to Denmark." I applied for university as well the next year, and if I didn't get in, I was going to try my hand at doing my national service in Denmark. And then they posted up that the pre-season games, one of them was against Brøndby because we just bought Alan Nielsen. So I went from Sønderjylland, which is South Jutland, to the other side of Copenhagen on the train with my boss's son, who was, I think, all of 14 or something. And yeah, let's just say in Denmark, you can drink on the terraces. So I bought myself 6 half litres, plonked them in front of myself on the terrace. Yeah, and that was the first time I saw Paolo Tramezzani, and luckily the last time.
And that's what started you drinking.
Dare we ask how far you led astray this poor 14-year-old lad that
well, I think we got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and his dad had been waiting at the station for about 2 hours. So yeah, I wasn't very popular for a little while, but they kind of.
Does that coincide with you leaving Denmark?
Denmark.
I did stay there for another couple of months.
You had to work.
While they sorted the people.
That was highly amusing because the kid was stood next to me, and the referee made a bad decision. I was like, "Ref, you're a wanker," and he said to me in Danish, "What does wanker mean?" And I said, I said in Danish is pigspiller, which basically means dick player. And so every time he saw me after that, he used to say, "Wanker."
You sure that's the reason?
I'm just thinking he was 14, so it would have been right around that age. So maybe you were also responsible for awakening this young gentleman's.
this poor dick spiller.
Dick
spiller, yeah. Dick spiller. Whoops.
Jens, what was your first Spurs shirt? Can you remember?
I don't remember the exact season it was, but it was we were sponsored by Holston, so I couldn't have the logo on because it was a used shirt. But it was the light blue. I think it might have been 86, 87. We had a light blue. I think it was a third kit, or might have been an away kit.
That's the one I bought the other day. Let me go and get it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk amongst yourselves, fellas. You know.
I'm just looking up Spurs kits. There's a website that actually has them.
Was it this?
Sort
No,
of.
I actually got it in the Spurs stadium. That one, but in light blue, was it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
the
got that
right-
one as well. I've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
that one. I bought that a couple of years ago. Yeah, but it was in light blue. And
Yeah, that was still
yeah,
about
that
the
was-
Spurs.
That was the 87 Cup final colour then. That was light blue, wasn't it? Pretty sure.
no, we played in white in the 87 Cup final, didn't we?
Well, I'm getting
Yeah.
confused somewhere along
We
the
had
line.
the
Coventry were playing in light blue.
we had the issue of missing
Yeah.
the
Apologies,
Holston
apologies.
on the shirts. Yeah.
So I might
Did you have a
slip
number? Did you have a number on the back or anything, or was it just
No.
didn't
just
we do it in those days? Did they?
No, it was just bog standard.
Your first Spurs hero as a child?
Gary Mabbott.
Yeah, it would have been between 85 and 87
Okay.
that you had it. I don't know how well that'll come out on my screen, but it would be
Yeah, that's about right. The light blue one there. Yeah.
that sort of second from
In
this
the middle.
side.
Yeah.
What made you connect to Gary Mabbott then? Do you think child?
I think I explained it last week that
Yeah.
about his whole diabetes and that the rare times that I saw him interviewed on the television, he was happy and just always seemed to be smiling, and I just couldn't believe that someone with was it illness? I mean, it still is an illness, but it was like, wow, someone with an illness plays football.
Yeah.
I've never been very intelligent, so I couldn't really put the two together. So he was definitely my hero as a child.
Excellent. Tricky one for you next then. Favourite all-time Spurs player?
Frank Saul.
You made a run for your back there. You're gonna have to get 10
Yeah.
now. 10 out of 10.
It's Gary Mabbott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Your most disliked player apart from Arsene?
This was one that I've been thinking about, and I really can't think. I thought to myself, it might be Berbatov because the way he left, but all of the goals that he scored and the amount of joy that he gave me while he was here when he was playing with Keane and Mido, and there was I think that overweighs overweighs the negatives.
Adebayor Door was quite unpopular for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, that's true. But again, he scored a lot of important goals for us. I think I'll have to go for the amount of aggro that he caused me, Bobby Mims.
Oh dear. If you could go back in time to watch one famous game in Spurs history, which one would it be?
As in actually being in the stadium.
Yeah.
84 UEFA Cup.
Stood next to Kev.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'd be throwing windmills at all those dirty Belgians, and it would be wonderful.
Kev, would you?
No, okay. We were playing kisses there.
All right. That's a ninja. This is me.
Which was your favourite era in your team?
That's a difficult one because when I first sort of became aware of, I was 4 years old when I was taken to the stadium first. When I first sort of became aware was in '84, and that was a hell of a team. And was it that season or the season after? God knows how. Well, we should have won the league if they hadn't have had all those postponements, as Kevin said before. But I think I'll have to go with, is it 2003, 2004, when Martin Jol came in, because he made me fall in love with Tottenham again. Just the way that he was in the interviews, the team we actually had some bottle again, which we seem to have been missing for so long. We had some steel in the midfield. I'd say that.
Martin Jol's team, yeah.
Yeah.
Your most memorable UK away day? Can you remember it? Or
yeah. Man United. Yeah. Man United, I don't recall which season it was, but it was my first time up at Old Trafford, and we beat him 3-2, which was the first time in I don't know how long. And Bale scored. Although Jan Vertonghen, it went down as an own goal, but that run down the wing, and I just thought, bloody hell. And then
he'd only just signed for us, hadn't he? At that point,
yeah, it was. Yeah. I think it was one of his first 5 games or something. Like
that. It was under AVB.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, because I came outside and we were going to catch a bus into the centre of Manchester, and there was this bloke there going. I was like, "Yeah, come on, you Spurs." He's like, "Yeah, but AVB's useless, isn't he?" I said, we just beaten Man United 3-2 in their own backyard. Yeah, but you ain't got no tactics. And I was just like, all right, mate, see ya. Yeah. We'll get a taxi.
he did have tactics. There were a lot of them, but he certainly had them.
He wasn't very good at getting his ideas across, was he?
No. But who was it? Was it Deuce who scored that day? Deuce and Bale. Yeah, Dempsey.
Oh, yeah.
The rapper, number 2.
And, we were brilliant that day. It was hilarious. The guy I went with, I think you might have met him, Mike, John. The big guy. Yeah. Last 10 minutes, he said, "I can't handle this. I'm going downstairs." You can watch it. But yeah, that was quality.
I was at a wedding that day, Smithy's wedding. I was like, what's the odds on us beating Man United? We always lose up there, kind of thing. And I was like watching on my phone at the table. I had a stream at the time. I was like, there was a little murmur around the because I was sat next to Brian. He's a Man United fan. So
yeah. Well, that was the season. We could get away tickets everywhere, and then we got Chelsea, we got Man U. I think I got Arsenal as well that season. Even though
wasn't that the season they were selling quarter season tickets?
It might have been, but because of the loyalty points on my membership, I had an awful lot. I could get nobody seemed to want to travel away, and then the season after it all went. You can't even get loyalty points as a season ticket holder. You can't even get away games as a season ticket holder these days without sort of 400 loyalty points.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. You'd think, like a third round Carabao Cup, you'd get them. Yeah. I applied, I didn't get any.
Yeah,
didn't get it. Evening, Cody.
Funnily enough, Rez, that's how I got my season ticket under One Day Ramos when he was stinking the place out of the fucking first few months. Yeah, and obviously someone handed their season ticket back, and I managed to get in. And then literally a week later, Redknapp took over.
And then you couldn't get the love more money.
Yeah. No, I got my ticket, but whoever handed theirs in dropped.
I got so fortunate with mine. I was so lucky. I don't know how I swung that, but it was, when they did that slight extension soon after the thing, that's when I got mine. They sort of had 2,000 extra tickets, and I applied, and I couldn't believe I got one because I was still like 30-odd thousand on the waiting list. I don't know how I got it, and then it wasn't that lucky because the very first match on that little 5-game season ticket was Man United, which was when they announced lockdown the day before.
Oh dear. Literally, the day, wasn't it? I was pretty much getting ready to go that day. And
I waited 18 months to go. Finally got there for the Watford game.
Blimey. Jens, your most memorable European away day, apart from accosting a 14-year-old and introducing him to the word Dick Slayer or whatever wanking is. Dick Spiller.
There's only been a few, but there was Leon in the rugby league. When they went 1-0 up in the first half, and Moussa Dembele scored the equaliser, I think the 80th minute.
Was Lloris playing for them, or was he?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I'd spoken with Jason, and he said, "Yeah, we should go." And I said, "Well, how are we going to get tickets? We weren't season ticket holders, and obviously European away games are crazy." And I read on the internet that Leon sell tickets on the internet with our membership. So I went on, I signed in. Obviously, I had to use my pidgin secondary school French, and I got 2 tickets in the middle of the Leon end. So yeah, we went over there. We had a great night the night before. loads of Spurs fans around this bar called Bar Danois. It was I could hardly speak the next morning. We were singing so much. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and that's the reason you couldn't speak the next morning.
Oh, we actually we went to bed quite early. We went to bed. I think it was 2:00. Yes, it wasn't. It wasn't
in the morning.
Yeah. Yes, 2:00 in the morning. Yeah. Oh no, 2:00 in the afternoon before the match. What do you think, Rez? And so we basically we got up for breakfast the next morning, and then we went back and we had a snooze, and then we went down to the ground, and we were sort of milling about, looking what's happening, and we walked up, and this guy came over, and he said something in French, and I caught half of it, and I said, "Where?" And so he guided us, and so we got to this bit, and there was a big line of police, and that was the Tottenham away end, and so we got to the bit where they check the tickets, and he was like, "English." We were like, "Yes." He said, "What do you do in this end? You should be there." I said, "Well, move us to that end." No, can do. No, can do. I said, "Okay, well, we've bought tickets, so we want to go in." And he said, "Okay, you understand. You in the top bit. You not go downstairs, hooligans, you die." Okay, so anyway, yeah, the game kicked off. They scored. We didn't say much. Yeah, we were we were stood there. It was absolutely freezing. I mean, I'm sure you remember, John, with the at Fulham, that wind to come off the Thames. How cold that was.
Yeah.
This was absolutely. It didn't have a curved end. It was a stand and then another stand. Two stands. And then when Bailey scored, obviously we jumped up and we got hit with all sorts, like plastic bottles, paper cups, and there was about I reckon there were about 200 Spurs fans in that end who all jumped up where we scored.
Nice.
Yeah, when we got outside, it was apparently all a bit lively, so we decided to go to a hotel where we got chatting to a bloke who was from Lyon but supported Tottenham, and it was a fantastic day. The only problem was we had to be up at 4:45 to catch a bastard jet flight in the morning back to Gatwick.
Wow. Did you stay up or?
No. We got a few hours late. I mean, come on, man, I'm old.
That game was, as you say, 1-1. Dembele in the 90th minute. Funnily enough, Hugo had signed for us but wasn't in goal. It was actually Brad Friedel.
Because I remember him doing this. He was giving that to the Lyon fans.
Yeah, and Lloris was still wearing. I mean, he didn't play, but he was still wearing the number 25 shirt.
So it's fresh off the.
Do you want to know the lineup?
Yeah, go on. So let's have
Benny at left back. I remember Benny had a great game.
Yeah. Benny at left back. Jan, Gallas, Walker, Parker,
Scotty P,
Moussa Dembele, Bale on the left, Lennon on the right, Holtby at number 10, and Emmanuel Adebayor up front. And the bench was Lloris, Dempsey, Norton, Michael Dawson, Gylfi Sigurdsson, Jake Livermore, and I can't even remember his first name, Corker. What was his first name?
Stephen,
that's right.
Yeah.
Stephen Corker. Yeah.
I think he's an Irish international, isn't he, Kev? Stephen Corker.
Yeah. Stevie.
Yeah. Stevie.
Anyone famous in doing? Oh, actually, here's one. This would have been after he played for us. There's a former Spur in that substitutes bench for Lyon.
Clinton NG.
Nope.
Dallas.
No. Think further back than that.
Istanbul.
Hero of a 5-1 against the scum.
Kabul.
No.
Canute.
No. Short, stocky, French. Played for Fulham.
Malbranque,
yeah.
Lead.
And also up front for Lyon that day was Alexander Lacazette.
I was thinking the other day, how mad is it? Like when the player's playing for you, like every other week, you're shouting at like his song at him, like Steve. You do that all the time. And one day he left, and then we never got to say ever again. Until it's brought up on podcasts like this. Apart from Steve Malbranquians, which Spurs player got you the most excited when you first heard the news of their signing?
I won't go for player. I'll go for players. I was working up in London on a fitting kitchens on a building site in Covent Garden, and I heard over the radio that we'd signed Klinsmann, Dumitrescu, and Popescu. Might have not been at the same time, but it was in that week that I was working there, and I thought we were gonna smash it.
You know what? I mean, put Klinsmann aside, that at least showed ambition.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice bloody change.
Yeah. Sugar, wasn't it?
Well, that's Mr. Sugar, yeah. But I think, Aussie Ideales wanted to pay 5 up front, 1 in the midfield and 4 defenders. And I think one of the defenders was either Nethercott or someone like that.
Wasn't it Doc, wasn't it? The Doc.
And to be fair, that midfielder was also designed to drop back into the defence as well from time to time. So
Popescu was the one.
He played 5-0-5.
George Popescu.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of Romanian fans because of those guys. Yeah, because of those guys, we've got a lot of Romanian fans. A lot of like the guys at our local pub checkers. They support Tottenham because of Dumitrescu and Popescu.
Yeah. Well, because they just set the World Cup alight, hadn't they?
Yeah. Georgie Hadji team. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jens, if you could have scored one famous goal in Spurs history, which one would it be? Well, you're transformed into their body, and you get to experience the feeling and the surrounding emotions around it.
I could go for the obvious one, which is my handle, which is Ricky Villas. But there's kind of 3 I'd like to throw in there. There's obviously Ricky Villas. There's Danny Rose's against the Scum. Beautiful. But there's also Robbie Keane against Blackburn. I don't know if you saw it. He dribbled in from the right hand side.
Yeah.
Chipped it over someone and then knocked it in. And I when I was watching it, I think I might have been drunk, Rez. But I thought it was.
Hell surprise!
I thought it was one of the best goals that I'd seen in a long time. And I watched it back the other day, and it is pretty tasty.
It is very good.
It might have been one of the best goals. It's the fact that you were drunk. It's like when you eat something when you're drunk. It's the best meal ever. So that's probably what it is. It might not have been a very good goal. I mean, I'm sure it was. It was Robbie Keane, but
it's very good.
Just the fact that you were drunk might have made it extra special in your mind.
I didn't know that.
When Sonny scored his wonder goal against Burnley last year, year before.
No, I have to say I was completely and utterly pissed off and gutted because I gave him a ticket to my brother.
Well, funnily enough, because he does it all the time, he set off on his little run and scored, and everyone was going mad around. I was like, Sonny does that all the time, I didn't think that much of it because he'd got the ball. He'd done a couple of similar runs in that game, kind of thing. So I wasn't that actually blown away by it, but everyone else was.
I nearly had a heart attack watching that. It was amazing. It was like he's beaten another man, and just.
Burnley as well, who are quite hatchetty, aren't they? For taking
talking about what Cody said. If you watch the Tottenham versus Chelsea, Tottenham versus Arsenal game. I can't remember the season. Aurelio Gomez pulled off some
Van Persie
amazing saves, from Van Persie, and that guy could go from the absolutely amazing to the ridiculous in sort of 5 seconds.
I remember that Real Madrid game. They beat us at Highland, didn't they? And we had to go away still. And I thought it was just 4-1. Maybe we could go there and win 3-0. But then he threw one through his hands right at the end, didn't he? And it was like, we're not going to go over there and win 4-0. Cheers, Aurelio. Again, speaking of songs that you used to sing all the time, the Aurelio Gomez song we used to sing that all the time. I'll let you sleep with my wife. Aurelio Gomez. You can't sing it.
Speaking of great saves, Lloris against Man City in the Champions League. That was a great save.
We should maybe do a thing then on the back of Cody's comment. What's the best save in Tottenham history? Alongside, apart from Tony Parks, Kev, you've seen a few. What's the best save? Any Pat Jennings ones?
I'm hard pushed, but Jennings saved those 2 penalties at Anfield one morning. But but they're set pieces. So set pieces are different. I was going to bring up what Jens said. Best goals. I mean, Gascoigne's goal was sublime, but it was a set piece. So it's not. It's individual skill, but it doesn't get you the slow motion build up to the.
No, there's no breathlessness behind it before it.
Yeah. But keepers, there's been so many. You put me on the spot. I'm afraid.
Yeah. Lloris's highlights package.
We've been really fortunate, actually. We've been really fortunate. We've been really unfortunate as well. I mean, we've had the likes of Ian Walker and Aurelio Gomez, but at the same time, we've had the likes of Robinson, Jennings, Lloris, Torsved. There have been some amazing goalies that have played for us.
We are. Next question. What was the loudest atmosphere you ever heard at the Old Lane, Jens?
I think it was probably those two games against Arsenal and Chelsea, like the one I mentioned earlier. I was block 34 right at the back, which was absolutely brilliant because you could smoke and, and if anyone came up, told you to sit down, you just stand up if you hate Arsenal. But that was mental from start to finish. We were bouncing.
It was typical being a Tottenham fan that year, wasn't it? Because if you remember, that week started off with us losing to Portsmouth in the FA Cup semi-final. Yeah. So we were at low, weren't we? And then we had Arsenal and Chelsea to play at home in the space of 3 or 4
I'll never
days.
forget
that.
That
was to get champions. That was the thing, wasn't it? Get Champions League.
And we had to beat Man City up at the Etihad as well, with a Peter Crouch goal. So
that semi-final, I watched it up in the gods with James and Kenny, and they all left about 5 minutes before the end of the game, and I stayed till the end. And I came out of Wembley, and I walked the wrong way, so I ended up going to Wembley Central, and I got on a train and was surrounded by Portsmouth fans, as if it couldn't get any worse.
Was Mr. Portsmouth there with his big hat on and his belt?
No, they were all scarfers, and
that guy was a literal bell end.
The most annoying thing about that game was the player that slipped for them to score the goal. Dawson, when it had been so Mr. Reliable for so long, and then for him to have slipped momentarily for them to get the goal. Awful.
But the Arsenal and the Chelsea game that week was proper lively. Funnily enough, I would have thought that the AC Milan game in the second round of the Champions League, I thought that was going to be really, really noisy, and I got a ticket in the shelf upper. Really wasn't. I mean, it's quiet up there anyway, but I could hardly hear the Park Lane and
we used to get the Polish fans are really good when they used to play in the Open League. They were really like Wisła Krakow. Remember that playing them once?
I didn't go to that game.
Yeah, they were really loud.
I had a ticket, but I overindulged the night before. Funnily enough, Rez, I was drunk. So I didn't end up going, but I heard that it was kicking off everywhere in the ground.
Yeah. Me and Gaz were walking down afterwards, and there was a Poland fan, Wisła Krakow, walking down like that, waving his flag, just riding down through the crowds. And then we literally 5 yards further down the road, and we saw him sparked out on the floor. Someone had just completely knocked him out. He was fucking, it was he thought it was funny walking down the road with his scarf, and then someone actually he was knocked out.
But that's the thing. There's so many Polish people around Seven Sisters. It's like Little Warsaw at the moment.
Completely knocked out 5 yards further down the road. Bang. Dear. So as well as the police and the ambulance outside your window there, Rez, Brian Daigle's actually in the UK at the moment, so you got to watch
awesome.
in the background there. He's going to the Chelsea game. He's sitting next to Danny the Bun, isn't he? I think
we should meet up for a drink then before.
I think all the YouTube guys are meeting up and whatnot. I've not been invited. It's terrible.
Can you invite Johnny, please? Because then if you invite Johnny, I can then sort of find out where he is and turn up just uninvited as well.
I'll wear this shirt, so then you can see where you are.
I'll be there in spirit.
My Magnum PI shirt.
I'll be there in spirit, preferably gin.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do like FaceTime or something with you guys as well, so you can sort of join in.
I know where Stell sits in the stadium, so I'll go and photobomb him again. I think he sat next to the guys from We Are Tottenham TV, so I know
Where
where they
they
are
sit?
roughly as well. Just, but in line with you actually, Jens. But
Okay.
maybe a bit more central.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, South Stand. Yeah.
Yep. South.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
South. Yeah. With Grand Pop. Is it Grand Pops they call him? Grand Pops.
I don't know. But what's his name? Jamie from We Are Tottenham TV's got my ticket. So
oh, he has. Oh, he took it in there. Nice.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
So
I
brilliant.
gave him a bit more of a discount.
I don't know if Brian will make it past security, but.
So just on Mabba and Gaza,
go on.
There's a really when you mentioned Gary Mabbutt last week, actually, Jens, it came into my mind. I didn't get the chance to sort of tell you guys. I don't know. You must have heard it. So Mabbutt was.
I bet you wish you did.
Sorry, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, wish. Yeah. Brilliant story. Should I repeat for the benefit of everyone?
Is that the Gaza story?
Yeah. Have you all heard it?
I think you told us it a couple of weeks ago.
Have I told you it?
Yeah.
So basically, he says he's a diabetic, and he was on the coach after an away game, and he had his needle out to inject himself with insulin. And Gaza got on the coach, and obviously, I mean, Gaza doesn't know anything really, and he asked Mabbutt what he was doing, and Mabbutt was trying to explain that he's a diabetic. And apparently, Gaza didn't quite get it. He seemed to think that diabetes was a boxer, apparently. But he said, "This is what Mabbutt related." He said, "I said I have to inject myself 4 times a day." He said, "What, every day for the rest of your life, or just while you're in football?" I said, "For the rest of my life." He said, "For the rest of your life, I bet you can't wait to die." It's typical Gaza,
isn't it? Just
brilliant.
Jens, have you ever gone into a game hoping we'd lose to expedite a manager sacking?
No.
No matter how
I think back in the George Graham days, I didn't really go, so I was too young, or didn't have enough money, and maybe might have considered it then because he won us a trophy, but
it's about the only thing decent thing Levy's ever done, isn't it? Sacking George Graham.
He's a gooner to the core, as far as I'm concerned.
There was tales he had a swimming pool in his house now with the Arsenal crest on the bottom when he was our manager, and I never liked that.
Yeah, well,
we're going to do that.
No, but I haven't. There are times when I think the managers, it's time to go. But I've never had the amount of hatred that it seems some people have, like the hatred for AVB when he left, and Tim Sherwood as well. I was like, he's our manager. Yeah, okay, he's not great and he mouths off a lot, but the hatred, he's our manager. He doesn't manage Chelsea, doesn't manage the Gooners, doesn't manage West Ham. He's our manager. If you don't like him, okay.
But he's getting a lot of stick at the moment, Sherwood, because he said on one of these score programs the other day that if he was a Tottenham fan, he'd rather watch Leeds at the moment, which I probably agree with him, to be honest.
What is he on Talk Sport?
Style of football now. He's on one of these BT programs or one of these foreign channels.
They drag him out from time to time because he's got a mouth on him. So
and a gillet,
yeah. I mean,
style of football wise, Leeds probably play the Tottenham way stylistically, don't they?
Yeah,
and that's all he said.
Tim Sherwood played the Tottenham way, didn't he? So.
Yeah, run around a bit. Yeah, get on there and run around a bit.
Well,
He used to go in my day. We didn't have defensive midfielders and attacking midfielders.
No,
did a bit of both.
We played Gylfi in the middle.
Did a bit.
I remember
he's still talking bollocks.
Chadley played Chadley in the middle against West Ham in the League Cup.
He's still talking bollocks because even back as far back as the 70s, even back as far back as the 60s. You would still have defensive-minded midfielders. It's nothing new.
Not in my day.
Nothing new.
A bit of both. Yeah, you were just a midfielder.
You see, this is the mistake that people make. It's not, and we'll probably get to this, but it's not about the label that you stick on the midfielder. It's about the role that they carry out. And a central midfielder, has always had defensive duties as well.
Run around.
Go, get it in the goal.
Get it in the mixer.
The onion bag.
Jens, who would have won between Poch 2017, Birkinshaw 1981, and Pleat 1987? I should clarify it's their teams and not the actual managers because they might be a bit old by now. Poch should probably win that one, wouldn't he? Against Birkinshaw's probably at early 80s, 81, I think he was. Funnily enough, looking at the year.
Well, as in a fight or something?
No, a game.
Whose team would win?
Team,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going for Pleaty 87 because of Clive Allen.
Nice.
Was Hoddle still in the 87 team?
He was indeed,
Yes,
yeah.
he was, yeah.
And it would have been 87. Yeah. Hoddle now, if he had the same skill set,
and he wasn't even born when
age.
Birkinshaw was around.
Yeah. No, but even now, the same if he was that age that he was then now, he would be one of the best midfielders in the world, even today.
He was
no
then, mate.
fitter,
He was
no
then.
fitter.
He'd be the best midfielder in the world.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
The game he's still, what he had back then is still perfectly transferable to today's game, and he would dominate midfields. He would.
Absolutely, yeah.
He would.
Just in turn on in management though, he just couldn't
It's
relate
called
to people.
books.
It's his man management, wasn't it? Because he could understand how other players couldn't do what he could do so easily.
Yeah.
And my name's not Jens, it's Michael Chickless. Thank you very much.
Dickless, chickless, and a subject close to your heart, Jens. Your favourite match day Spurs pub. If you were going in the old days when you were living in West London, you would get up early to a Spurs game. Which pub would you go to?
It's definitely changed because, as you know, I was a massive fan of the Bell and Hare until it changed management. But I also love the Beehive. I love the Two Brewers. The Elmhurst, when the manager from the Bell and Hare moved there, was great for the first two games until we realised that all the away fans were turning up because it was listed as an away fans pub on the internet.
Oh,
not good. Yeah. So yeah. I would probably say overall the Two Brewers, because the atmosphere that could get going in there, small pub, big, relatively large backyard, everyone was massively charged and there was a lot of singing and it was quality. Remember West Ham turned up once, that was highly amusing. Police were there about 20 seconds later, but that was the thing about the Brewers. You never knew what was going to happen. Whereas the rest of the pubs are sort of, on the main drag, and the police were around there, but the Brewers was a little bit off. But
Did I ever tell you about the time I got penned in with the West Ham fans? We were coming out of Seven Sisters Tube, out the stairs. The police had cordoned it off because obviously the West Ham fans had just got there, and we came around the corner, and they stopped us all, and then literally all the West Ham fans were coming up behind us. Literally, where the police were, and me and my little brother, he must have been 14 at the time, and I had him in front of me, like down here, like, and the policeman, there was like a row of police at the front, and I was like, mate, I didn't want to speak too loud, like to the policeman. I was like, we're Tottenham fans, can you get us out of here? And he's like, what, mate? I was like, I kind of had to like show him my badge, and he's like, oh, right, and he sort of let us out, and then all the West Ham fans would go, where's he going? Why are you letting him out? John, John, come back here. And I was like, how do they know my name? And like, John. Apparently, it's like Cockney slang for like anybody, mate, isn't it? Like kind of,
mate, yeah.
I don't go by that anymore. I go by Einstein.
And they were just scum that day because we were walking
that day.
Always, yeah. They're just terrible, Rez. Like they've been walking up before and they get surrounded in a pen by the police, don't they? And they're hurling out this anti-Semitic stuff all the time, doing the hissing noises and stuff. And the police have just stood there, and we're like, all the Tottenham fans are going out to them and going, "Are you going to let them do that?" Because they've got the police had the cameras, they're filming them, so they're obviously season ticket holders at West Ham. They know who they are. They never fucking do anything about it. They just let them come out of this anti-Semitic chanting, hissing and stuff. Just scumbags, West Ham fans, and they all look the same, don't they? Fat cunts with bald heads.
Yeah, I remember going there a few seasons ago because I had as I said, that was the season that I could get away tickets for everywhere.
Yeah,
and I went to West Ham with Carl Hoddle and Colin from the British Empire. There was a girl I used to work with who worked in a pub called I think it was the Union or something like that. And she said it's the only pub in close to the ground that lets in away fans. And so we go bowling in there, and we were the only 3 Tottenham fans in there. And so I walk up and I was like, "You're right, Shaz, how's it going? Long time no see. 3 pints of lager, please. So you're going to give us 3 points today then?" And it was like they flicked the needle off the record and everyone went. And I was like, £5, okay. Yeah. And so we went and stood in the back garden to a chorus of "We hate Tottenham and we hate Tottenham." And I was like, "Yeah, this is a nice place, isn't it, fellas?" It was like, "Yeah, should we drink up and leave?" Yeah.
It was sort of like,
yeah. And we lost 1-0.
We went into a pub once and we bought Scouse. Do you know Graham McGill? Scouse. He came with us to watch Tottenham and Liverpool. He's a big Liverpool fan. His nickname is obviously Scouse. So we go, right, we're going in this pub. It's quite tasty in here. So we're going to, whatever you do, don't talk, Scouse. Let us order the drinks, just drink your drink. I can't remember who it was. We went to the bar. Right, I'll have a Foster's. And he shouts back over, "Oi, Scouse, what are you having?" Scouse was like shit himself, like
brilliant.
Scouse, what are you just going through this whole routine of don't talk, don't open your mouth.
I was going through security at Heathrow about 3 or 4 years ago, and so I'm taking over all my stuff, and I heard this broad Scouse accent say, "We don't allow Hoyskaards out of England." And there he was. he was working at Heathrow as security.
Love it.
awesome.
Awesome. Right, we better get back to this week's action. Sadly, memory lane's probably much more exciting than the past week that we've had. So, as you can see on our ticker there, Palace 3, Tottenham 0. Line-up, match talking points and review. So let's start with you then, Rez, as you look eager to get into it. What did you make of the lineup before the game then? Before you saw the performance, when you saw that Winks was in there with Skip and Højbjerg, could you work out what he was trying to do there, or what was your immediate thoughts on that lineup? He's being Nuno, right? I've been very equivocal about Nuno, right? I've not said anything particularly strong about him since he's been appointed. But this is the truth about Nuno. He is Mourinho Mark II. And I'm not saying that in any kind of judgmental way, right? I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It is a thing, though. Nuno is of the same school of football philosophy as Jose Mourinho, where the key point is about control when you're not in possession. Okay, the way that he set up with that 3 DM midfield, it wasn't specifically about defensiveness, although that's an aspect of it. It's about his philosophy, which is about counter-punching and being a counter-attacker. Because a 3-man midfield with 3 defensive-minded sets traps a lot easier. It didn't work against Palace because it's very difficult to actually do well. You need technical players, and you need players who can know their roles inside out. Winks isn't good enough. Skip is too inexperienced. And Højbjerg, because of who he is, will always be trying to put out fires everywhere. So it wasn't good. When I saw it, it was, that's just Nuno showing himself to be who he is. Protect the 9 points we've got on the board already. And
I didn't have an issue before the match necessarily, because I don't have an issue per se with a manager being defensive or a manager playing counter attack. I know it's not the Tottenham way, but that was classic Nuno, right? His philosophy is give control, try and control the game when you're out of possession, and then just hope for quick turners. And we saw it against Rennes as well. That's just the way he plays. And we're not going to get champagne football with Nuno. We might win, we might lose, we might achieve something, we might not achieve something, but it's not going to be with entertaining football. And it's certainly not going to be with possession-based football.
I think it might have been. I thought he was trying to provide cover to the fullbacks to get them a bit higher up the pitch, because he obviously started Emerson and on the left-hand side, who's the Spaniard? Reguilón. So I thought he was trying to give him a bit of protection and by tucking in for them so they could push him a bit higher and play a bit higher up the pitch.
You need to bear in mind
bother at the moment with the amount of players missing.
That's true, but one thing you've got to bear in mind. I'm sorry, I just want to make this one point before you carry on, Jens. One thing I'll say about Emerson is that, contrary to what we might think, Emerson is actually considered when he was at Barca to be a more defensive fullback than an attacking one. That's the thinking about him. So how that fits in, I don't know. Sorry, Jens.
I've heard different. I've heard that he's one of the most attacking fullbacks that was there. That's the thing I couldn't understand. I've read it on SC, which I'm sure we all go on. That he was the most defensive, but that also he's an extremely attacking player. Just
think what he could be if Tim Sherwood got hold of him.
Exactly. Forward, we play him centre midfield, first half, centre back, second half, goalkeeper, extra time, lovely jubbly.
Having said that, he played centre mid yesterday for the last half an hour, didn't he? If you noticed, he got pushed into centre mid with all the injuries and the reshape was happening. Mm-hmm. Kev, what did you make of the decision to play the 3-man DM?
It'll wave you the white flag from the off, I thought, because Winks playing, I thought we were up against it, and after 15 minutes, I thought we were going to be lucky to get a draw out of this. There was just no aggression, no push, it was just everything was against us, and they thought it was happy days for Crystal Palace, to be honest.
I think they picked out at half time, didn't they? There was a few times where Emerson had pushed really high, and then Winks looked at him and then just didn't play the ball past him. He played a 5-yard ball sideways, didn't he? It's telling that he didn't play last night, Winks, whether he's saving him for Sunday or not.
That's what we're dreading.
God help us.
Please, no. I'm not sure I'm going to. I'm not sure I'm going to show you up
against Chelsea. Against Chelsea, there's a case to be made for playing a three-man defensive midfield lineup because they're so frightening.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're so frightening right now in terms of just what they can do, and even with got Lukaku up front, that enormous unit. And I said to a Leicester supporting friend of mine who was bad-mouthing Lukaku, saying, no, he's going to be useless. I said, you watch. Lukaku is going to have he's going to be a beast this season. And he is. He's terrifying. He's terrifying.
You have a Leicester supporting friend?
I do. Well, sometimes you've got to be charitable to the less fortunate, Jens. I just want to pick up. Yeah, I just want to pick up on the Emerson point here. Right, this is where I saw it. Funnily enough, it comes from an Arsenal site, and this was before we'd bought him and all that stuff. Right, so they were discussing if Emerson Royale would fit. It says Real Betis are a side that predominantly attacks on the right-hand side, and they rely on winning set pieces as a form of chance creation. It benefits Emerson as his focus goes into defending instead of attacking, which accentuates his strengths. Okay. That's the thing. I think we've been misled. I've also seen people say he's an attacking fullback, but I think we've been misled on that. I think he's more your Tanganga than he is your Doherty.
So they're still going for the Reguilón push forward, and
if that. He's not doing very well in that role, is he?
Yeah. So the worrying thing is that Doherty's our attacking wing back this season, is he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, fellas. I know you completely disagree. We should have kept Aurier. Doherty is
No, that's never the answer, Jens. That's never the answer.
It is, mate.
Keeping all
yeah,
never the answer.
He may have upset you with storming out and stuff like that, but no, I'm sorry. If the choice is between
Aurier and Doherty, is it really even a contest? You know, for all of the stuff that he might have done, Aurier is still better than Doherty. I mean, we saw it against Rennes, even against Ligue 1 opposition. Come on.
Can't cross, can't pass.
No,
he was okay with a few dribbles, but yeah.
He's devoid of all confidence.
Now, Kev, I want you to come in here because you're an Irish fella, and I'd like to see
I was prepared to back him to the hilt because of the Irish connection, but I've lost it now. Since the start of this season now, I'm thinking, no, I can't back him anymore. I really can't, because the amount of time he lost his man last night as well. Forget about the crosses not coming. Yeah. That's 50% something like that, but there were none of them. But the amount of times I saw him lose his man just outside the penalty area. There was one when he stopped running and the Rennes attacker got ahead of him. And I think, why did you stop? Just in the penalty area.
Wasn't there a bit where he gifted them possession right on the edge of the box as well towards the end of the game? So I think Højbjerg passed it to him, and he dicked around with the ball and lost it to them. Right on the edge of the penalty area.
Lost interest.
It wasn't a brain fart he had. I think he just had devoid of any mentality in the first place.
Yeah, he's lacking confidence for Spurs, isn't he? He did all right for Ireland, and he had 3 good games for Ireland.
Why is that? It's a new manager. The guy who used to manage him at Wolves.
The guy that sold him, though, Jens.
Yeah.
If you think about it like that, he didn't fancy him, so he sold him.
Yeah.
They could have had a fallout.
Yeah, and also he came out today saying that Nuno's changed slightly, but his principles are the same. And it's like, I feel that Doherty's been Tottenham'd. We have at the moment a situation in which we get players, and the chaos, the instability, the uncertainty around what we are as a club affects our squad. So we end up with players. I reckon Doherty has still got the capacity to be a decent Premier League defender, but he's not going to be one for Spurs. He's not.
He's got a physicality. It's just that mental ability. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's the club. It's the club. That's if I get the opportunity, that's probably what my rant is going to be about today. It's the club.
Yeah, I backed him up last year because he had that touch of the COVID when it first came out. He got it when he was with the Ireland squad, and I thought that knocked him back a bit. We've all had, I think I've had a touch of it, up there, and it's not been right. But that's in the past now. It should be out and above all that now. But when he puts on a Tottenham shirt, it's just in retrograde all the time. It's like it's right.
Speaking of exciting fullbacks in the Palace game, Davies. The penalty. What do we make of the penalty? Was he unlucky or stupid?
He was unlucky. He's far too experienced to do that deliberately. I think he was desperately just trying to block the shot, and he flailed. I won't hear a bad word said about Davis, other than he's not the best defender, but he's never stupid. He's just sometimes let down by trying to do what he can't do, and I think that was another example of it.
There's not a lot he can do, is there?
Not really. And
what's he good at? One-on-one defending, pace, passing, crossing.
He's got no pace. Yeah, passing. I wouldn't say he's too bad. Crossing occasionally is pretty good. Yeah. I'd say his tackle. I'd say his tackling's pretty good.
His tackling's pretty
good. But I think he's been a scapegoat.
Yeah,
he's been a scapegoat for so many poor performances. If we have a bad result, and there's other players who played absolute crap like Ali or someone like that, and then if Davis puts 1 foot wrong, everybody's like, "Oh, Davis is shit."
That's because he's so wasteful in possession, Jens. He doesn't help. He puts pressure back onto us all the time by his wasteful passing.
You think all the time?
You'll get the ball out to him, and the whole team will spread out, and then he'll hit a crap pass. He can't even pass the ball 5 yards, and then you're wide open, and they're breaking on you again.
He's not a creative player. That's the thing.
What player is he, Prez? What kind of player is he?
He's a workhorse. He's a workhorse. That's what he is, right? And he's very
fucking donkey.
The good things that he
back to
does
World War One then.
The good things that he's got is that he's versatile. He can play two positions competently. He's competent. No, he can. He can. Listen,
two positions versatile.
The number
as
Jens has said, all right. This idea that he's somehow like one of the worst defenders in our squad is just not true. I mean, you look at what Dyer and Sanchez did last season. All right, so they've had 3 good games this season. That's hardly a benchmark, right? Davis is professional. He's committed. He works harder than probably most of the rest of the team, other than the likes of Højbjerg, right? And he's not awful. He's just not a bells and whistles.
He's never going to put any trees up, is he?
Yeah,
I think he is
he's a guy that you put on the bench because you know you can rely on.
I disagree there.
Yeah,
disagree.
You can rely on the guy to play to your instructions and to do the best that he can. Obviously, the best that he can isn't the best.
Pass.
It's not the best compared to your Vertonghen. It's not the best compared to Alderweireld. It's not the best compared to. Well, he's probably at the moment, given Reggie's current form, he's not far off the best left back in this squad compared to Sessegnon and Reguilon at the moment. You know, who else have we got?
Sessegnon, I don't think he's ever going to play left back. I'm not even sure he's going to play left.
That's the whole point. We bought him to develop him as a left back, but he's neither. He doesn't seem to be either a left back or a left winger.
But so we know we definitely bought him to develop as a left back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the confidence vampire said he's not a left back, didn't he? As soon as he came in last year, didn't he? Said, "Oh, he's not a left back."
Poch bought him specifically, I think it was, to develop him as a left back.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, things will, and managerial change will bring priority change and subject change as well. We don't know, but yeah.
Did I tell you, Rez? My sister's got a dog who's like 16, 17 now, called Kessie, and she's blind.
Which sister's that?
Zoe. She's blind. The dog's blind and deaf, so just wanders around bumping into things all day. And my nephews call him Ben Davis.
Ben Davis.
so when they're playing football in the lounge, Kessie's Ben Davis just wanders around aimlessly, like trying to. Poor thing. So we call her Ben Davis now.
Say like a Zoe next time you see it.
Will do.
Poor thing.
So who'd like to take over? Kev, let's go to you then. As the other two have talked about Emerson, what did you think of his debut going forward and the way he handled Zaha?
Oh, you got me there. Yeah, I thought he did pretty well, but Zaha's, when he's on his game, he's unbeatable. He was thrown in the deep end. What can I say? I had him down. He was off the pace, but he's improving, and you don't want to be off the pace against someone like Zaha. That's all I can say.
That's his first game in the Premiership, though, wasn't it, Kev? So he's going to be taking a bit of time to get up to it. But he didn't do too badly, did he?
No, and he was still suffering last night. You can still see he's still adjusting to the English game. I think that's what his problem is.
Yeah.
And last night he was pushed in as a right winger.
Yeah. And then a centre mid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so fair play to him if he can do that. Lovely job.
He was a striker at one point as well, wasn't he? I saw him in the box a couple of times.
Good work.
His game.
He needs to learn to stand his feet a bit more. He kept going down looking like he'd been shot, didn't he? Like before he was badly injured.
But to be honest, that referee last night, I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead of myself.
We'll get onto him, We'll get onto him. So we're still on Palace at the moment. What did you make of, we'll go to you, Jens, Nuno's lack of subs during the Palace game? Obviously, he lost Tanganga, didn't he, with the 2 yellows, and then he had to, apparently Gill was going to come on, but he had to park that decision.
Twice, apparently.
Because of the substitutions he had to make to reshuffle the shape of the team. And then the weird comments afterwards saying we lacked creativity. Well, he had Ndombele and Hill on the bench, didn't he? And he didn't put them on.
I have to say I missed the comments afterwards.
He said,
I think it's kind of difficult for a manager when you lose one of your centre backs after 15 minutes and then you get a red card. What was it Mr. K was saying the other day? You expect your centre backs to basically be the mainstay of the team. They'll play 90 minutes. Losing one of them after 15 minutes, and then when did Tanganga get sent off? 53
minutes, 58 minutes, something like
I'm not 100% sure what he could have done. I still like the bloke. I still think there's I am always willing to give players and managers a year.
Look at Pochettino. He when he got to
Exactly.
that Villa game,
He
he was under a
started
lot of
terribly,
pressure, wasn't
didn't
he? Yeah, he
Started
did.
awfully. Yeah.
That Villa. Did you say the Villa game? Yeah,
Villa game,
the one where Harry Kane
scored,
claimed the free kick,
Yeah.
where it took a massive deflection. I'm still willing to give him a chance. I didn't watch an awful lot of Wolves over the last few seasons. A lot of people have been saying that he's going to be another Mourinho. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think that, when we had Mourinho, we'd score, after the West Ham or Liverpool debacle, we'd score one goal and then we'd sit back. And literally sit back. There was no one going forward. We were defending for our lives. With Nuno, it seems that we still defend, but we counter-attack more. That's just the way that I see it, and I think he's a little bit different to Mourinho. And I'm willing to give him a year because in my opinion, our pink patch is long past. We can't consider ourselves a Champions League contending team within the near future because of the lack of getting rid of Deadwood and the lack of investment from a certain cat stroking bald midget.
You got to think as well.
Leave my cousin out of this.
Sorry?
Oh no, so you mean Levy? Sorry.
You got to think. Has he?
I was actually talking about Kev. But,
He hasn't got the personnel to play.
I was wondering if you knew how tall that actually was.
So
we can't be too harsh on him because he hasn't actually got the personnel to play a passing game at the moment, has he? He hasn't got anyone that's.
It's a lot worse though. It's worse. It's not even Nuno that's the issue. It's not. There's
a lack of belief, I think. I don't know.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things. It's the fact that it's also Paratici that's potentially part of the problem. Levy that is a massive part of the problem.
You think Paratici's part of the problem?
Yes,
okay.
I do. Because
elaborate.
There's a couple of things you've got to bear in mind about Paratici. First off, he's Italian. Yeah, and Italian football culture is very much of that defensive counter-punching style. Look at the players. Look at the outfield players we've bought. There are, let's say, the four: Romero, Gill, Emerson, and let's say, what's it called, Sarr, who isn't actually with us. Out of those four, Emerson, out of those four, only one of them is an out-and-out attacker. And the other player that we definitively know we were after, Traore, was used by Nuno in a counter-attacking style as well. All of this philosophy is supposed to be dictated by Paratici, but then when you include Levy's interference at the end of the window, and then that raises the question again as to who's actually in charge of football matters. Really, is it Levy? Is it Paratici? Is it Hitchin? And then on top of everything else, you've got the fact that Paratici's appointment also feels accidental or opportunistic. You know, we didn't seem to go for the director of football role first. We went for a manager first with Conte, and then Paratici was part of it, and he then came in, and now everything's dictated by him. It's like it's the chaos again. We come back to it. It's the uncertainty. And then Kane adds petrol to that fire this summer with him wanting out. You know, and Ndombele, maybe no one cares as much, adding that problem with his wanting to go. Where are we as a club? Who are we as a club?
I tend to agree with you, Rez, because if you notice early on in the search for our manager, it was all to do with Hitchin, wasn't it? Hitchin drew up a list, and Hitchin did this, and then suddenly went for Conta, and then Paratici was in the scene, wasn't he? So it seems like very opportunistic, like you say. It wasn't planned. It was just like Levy's like, oh, he's quite good. I'll get him on board.
Whoever's cheapest.
Yeah, and then get him. The window that he had doesn't look that great anymore, does it? We said, didn't we, that when the window closed, we need a creative midfielder, backup striker, and a right winger. And look at the areas that we're absolutely criminally under strength in now.
And Levy, and this is what angers me. It's what exasperates me, is that Levy he's been tight. He's been tight this summer, and everyone's going, oh, well, we had £200 million of irrevocable losses. What the hell is an irrevocable loss? So you've got recoverable loss? Is that a thing that now exists in business, that you can get back losses? Either a loss is irrevocable or it's not a loss. But we're using that, and people are parroting it, saying we don't have any money. We don't have any money. We're worth £2 billion. Money is always available. We only use 30% of our turnover on wages. Money is always available. You cannot get into the Champions League on the cheap. And Levy seems to think you can. And it's really pissing me off that there are people out there who defend him for his penny pinching. Sorry, I didn't mean to rant quite so early, but it's driving me nuts.
But I was speaking to someone from Spurs community earlier, and I think that Levy still thinks that every single manager that he hires is going to be as lucky as Pochettino.
Oh, never.
That, we didn't spend an awful lot of money. We basically had we made a few tweaks, and then we had that squad. And that was absolutely
lucky with Harry Kane, Jens, as well, didn't he? Because that's exactly. Generational talent coming through the books. Yeah. That doesn't happen all the time.
I just, I don't know what to believe. I don't know the inside stories. I don't know if Levy said, no, we've got enough attacking players. We don't need Traore for 40 million. I don't take anything gospel unless I hear it with my own ears. I think most of the stuff I read on the internet is absolute shite. Mr. Levy is.
What do you think he's made of it? What do you think he's made of this last week? Because he's getting a bit of stick now. Because there was the talk of Paratici showing Levy this infamous video of Nuno's team, and how attacking based it was, and because he had his reservations about Horror. Do you think Levy's arsehole's tweaking already?
Valencia's game wasn't attacking, though. It was also counter-attacking. It just happened to be that they were very good at scoring goals from it. But you look at the overall philosophy, it was still that soak and bang. That's the way that Nuno has built his philosophy from the beginning. Remember, he also played for Mourinho at Porto.
He did. He did.
He might have done. Paratici, I can see the scenario where Paratici is thinking, this guy doesn't know shit about football. I can run rings around him. That's what I can see. Because he doesn't. He sits there. Yeah, Winks runs around a lot. Great insight there, Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah, well, to be honest, if he was playing under Harry Redknapp, he'd be fucking happy as Larry, wouldn't he? Run around a bit.
He's on a hiding to nothing, Paratici, isn't he? Because if he does well, Levy will get his ego, will have his nose put out of joint, and he'll get rid of him if he gets popular with the fans, and he'll be getting all the credit when he for the turnaround. And Levy won't like that, and he'll have to get rid of him.
You can see that happening as well
because of his ego. Yeah, so he can't win really. He can't win.
No. Sorry, guys, I've dominated this a lot, but I'm very exercised at the moment about.
It's good to hear
about what they're doing. What they're doing, I cannot express how frustrating it is that I can look at the rest of the Premier League table and I can say, right, I know what that club is about. I know what that club is doing. I know what their objective is. And I can go down the table, club by club by club. And the only club that I look at that is more chaotic and aimless and directionless and clueless than us, thankfully, is Bumenol. That's the only one. There's the only club that's worse than us.
Watford. Yeah. Watford as well, mate. Believe me. No, believe me, Watford.
I know where you're coming from. Absolutely, with the Potsy family. I mean, yeah, they are a bit. but even then, you can sort of see why they're doing it. With them, it's like, if you don't deliver, you're out. If you piss around with us, you're out. At least then you know what it is. You know where they are. But what is Spurs doing? What are we doing?
It's come to pass quicker than we thought it would. Anyway, haven't we? I think we all said that he wouldn't back Nuno as he was needed, and there would be shortcomings in the squad, and then it's happened quicker than we thought it would happen. I think. But like this time last week, we were top of the table, weren't we?
Yeah.
But
still, we're not doing badly.
One goal in play.
I think all this gloom and doom is a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it is justified. I mean, against Palace, we had 2 shots in the whole game, not even on target.
But we have games like that. You have games like that. Yesterday against Rennes, first 10 minutes we were all over them. Then Rennes thought, hang on a minute, we can overrun this lot, and they went absolutely mental. I don't know if you saw. Well, I'm sure you saw it. Their fans were completely bonkers. It was a cauldron. I'm not going to start shouting out after 2. Yesterday, I don't think we even played that badly.
For me, it's not the results that the issue. It's not even the style of play. You give me 50, 60, 1-0 wins, right? Rather than a chaos of 5-4
That's 2 seasons
losses. Well, I was counting when we're going for the quadruple.
Okay.
17 games in the Europa.
Yeah. You give me those. I don't mind. I don't care about the style. I just want to see us win something for once. It's been too long. I just want to see us win something. If it means that we have to play like bloody, Arsenal back in the day, I don't care.
Who?
You remember George Graham's Arsenal 1-0?
I never heard of him. Sorry. No.
Okay.
You'll have to elaborate. Oh, the scum.
I will.
That's the one. Yeah.
The scum. That's right. I don't mind that, but I just want us to win something. So the style of play is not the issue. It's just we're not being equipped even to do that.
At least we had our identity, though, Rez. If we were going to fail, at least do it our own way rather than compromising to this 1-0 bullshit.
Johnny Jackson would score the 4th in the 90th minute for us to beat Charlton 4-3.
Jason Dezelle
2001.
Flash through our defence and do something odd, but whatever the identity is, we need to have one.
Yeah, fair enough.
One of you guys wanted to speak about the refereeing performance last night. I didn't think that helped us.
Last weekend or last night?
No, last night, which led to the injuries, I think.
I was so angry. This bloke was allowing. We basically. Sorry, let me get my breath back. The amount of fouls that he let go last night was fucking ridiculous. He was so soft. I think we started getting back into it about, I think it was about 50 minutes. We started fighting back a little bit. And still, no yellow cards. We fouled a load of people. They fouled a load of people. It was terrible. I think the first yellow card was Brian Hill in the 70-something minute, and their first yellow card was in the 88th minute. This guy, I actually tweeted him. Turkish. I tweeted him yesterday, and I said, "Where did you get your refereeing qualification from? A fucking raffle. Pathetic." I'm sorry, he was diabolical. I don't know if he was just, I want to let the game run, but come on, they were acting like, I mean, we play a bit rough sometimes, but these guys were going in. I think, too hard for my liking.
I think I'd like to have seen VAR there for once.
Yeah.
I think if that was there, that would have showed up a lot. That happened. They could have referred, or they could have referred to him and said, look, that's over the top. That's feet off the ground. That's targeted the players, ankle snappers, you name it.
Yeah.
And some dodgy decisions as well from the lino. I couldn't believe some of the lino decisions as well.
Yeah, not good.
Absolutely.
Not good. Quite good question from Cody here for the panel. Let's start with you then, Kev. Unpopular opinion: we should sacrifice Premier League games to go for the ESL, our easiest path to winning silverware and qualifying for Europa. We don't have the depth to fight on all fronts. What do you make of that, Kev?
We've got to stay positive in the PL, no matter what happens. That's the bread and butter. That's the glory. That's the, you start finishing bottom half in that for a Carabao Cup or ECL. The fans won't like it, whether it is a trophy or not. You can't. You've got to be aiming. Well, Wenger's whole thing was, I want to be in the top 4. I want to qualify for PL. Mm-hmm. I'll take Europa League. Fifth or sixth in a transition period. That will do because it keeps the money flowing, keeps the fans happy. But to be 8th or 9th and in the ECL, it's kind of second division-y, It's not major. It's not major league to me. I don't think. If anything's got to go, it's got to be the Carabao because we never try in it anyway. The amount of time
might be taken off of our hands on next week, Kev.
I prefer Carabao or FA Cup.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One thing I'll say this season, it will be nice to win the ECL this season because then we'll be the only team who's won 2 inaugural European trophies.
Yeah. History makers again.
Yeah.
That's a nice trophy as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can see where Cody's coming from, though. I can see where he's coming from.
It's Canada, isn't it?
Is it Canada? I can see Canada. It's the idea of prioritizing one competition over another, not necessarily the PL for the ECL or the Carabao Cup for the FA Cup or whatever, because we don't have the depth, we don't have the strength. Even if we had the depth, if our current first 11 is the best we can field, the rest of the squad is not quite good enough. So he makes a good point, or he makes an interesting point. I don't think anyone would stand for it, as you say, Kev.
Especially not Levy either.
Yeah. I mean, Levy's an idiot, but go on.
The UEFA, when we started out as an inaugural team, we done very well because we won it in 72. We got the semi-finals in 73.
Yeah.
And then in 74, we got to the final in Rotterdam, which is another story against another day theatre, and it was a bit of a disaster hooliganism-wise and start of the beginning of English hooligans in Europe and all that. I didn't go there.
That was Billy Nick. That was Billy Nick thing, didn't he? Yeah.
I wasn't there that day. That's one of the ones I missed. I didn't go to that one.
If you had been there, you might have been able to knock him into some shape.
No.
My mates were all there. I didn't go. I was up in court that day over in Chelsea. So I got arrested at Chelsea a few weeks earlier.
Kev was never a hooligan, honest.
No, I was arrested and I got off on a not guilty. Because
good.
I was the police came running. Police horses come charging down Fulham Broadway, and I jumped onto the pavement to get out of the way horses, and 2 coppers grabbed me and said, "You're nicked." I said, "What for?" They said, "You're pushing into the queue for the tube station." I said, "I didn't even know there was the tube station here." They threw me in the back of the meat wagon.
And I didn't know that was an arrestable offence.
Yeah, but then the story. To continue the story, if you don't mind me taking up time.
No.
They processed me. My dad had to come from. My dad lived in Potter's Bar at the time, and had to come down to Fulham Broadway Nick and bailed me out Saturday evening. He wasn't best happy, but he bailed me out. And the trial, the court date was set for the Rotterdam final in 74.
Oh no!
West London magistrates. I had my ticket booked and everything, but I couldn't go.
No.
But Dad he was a builder then, but he was a rich builder, loads of money. He got me. I had a solicitor up in the West End, his company solicitor, and the 2 coppers were at West London magistrates, and I was there, and they said, "Have you got a solicitor? How are you pleading?" When you go upstairs, because I was in the cell, you had to sign your bail in and go into the cells. How are you pleading? I said, "Well, my solicitor told me to plead not guilty." And they said, "What's your solicitor's name?" And I was only 16, 17. I said, "I don't know, but his name's QC something or other." I'm like, "What do you mean what?" They just faces really like that. And within 30 seconds of the case being heard, they just threw it out. Unfortunately, I didn't get to Rotterdam that day, but it was bright just to see that. Yeah, but I got not guilty.
You were beaten in the meat wagon.
No, they couldn't. No. I knew a few other fellas that were actually in Fulham Broadway that day, though they were nicked for fighting, but I still know them to this day.
I thought you were going to say you did it like the Newcastle fan did a few years ago. Punched the horse.
Punched the horse.
Why?
I literally dived out of the way of the horses. They were charging down there to separate fans, And it was, if you didn't do, you were trampled. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, policing in the 70s. Whoa.
It was, but you got arrested. It was like either a badge of honour, or you had to suck it up and say, "Yeah, I'm guilty," and pay you a £10 fine, which was sort of a quarter of a week's wages in those days, So it was just an arrest in those days. It was just, But my mate said, no,
So what happened in that final then in 70?
Oh, that was the Battle of Rotterdam, wasn't it? That was when all the fans, it total riot and mess and everything. It's all the away fans. I reckon a couple of people got stabbed. I reckon a copper got thrown off the highest part of the Feyenoord end and thrown down and broke his legs and everything. It was the first big outrageous football hooliganism from British football hooligans at that time. Yeah, it was. That's why whenever we play Feyenoord, there's always still that dodgy undercurrent of that time, Ajax and Feyenoord.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah. Sorry to digress, but it's one of those.
Alan Harris is saying in the comments that they got.
No, I love your stories, Kev.
Yeah.
It's so, I love them. I really do. It just brings up so much nostalgia, and it shows where the club used to be, where football used to be. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, on the 73 one, we was at Anfield. We lost 1-0. Clements played a blinder for them that day. But when the game ended, we had to run from Anfield all the way back to Lime Street Station. We were running because the fans were chasing us, and even all the kids on Scotland Road, which is one of the main roads, they were all there lined up on these building sites with bricks thrown them at us as well. It was terrifying.
No, but apparently, you remember in the old days, Liverpool all used to be about singing "Ferry Across the Mersey" and linking arms and being so friendly. I mean, I don't think I've ever been to Liverpool without being abused.
Yeah, stabbings up there. There's always stabbings.
Yeah.
It's the wasn't it? Look after your car,
that attacked the Man City coach? I mean,
look after your car,
Yeah.
The
police were just as bad though. That's the trouble. The police up there like beating cockneys, and they fuck off back to London. You lot.
Well, they had those big old sticks, didn't they?
Yeah. They hated you. It was sport for them as well.
Yeah,
I went to Birmingham once. I think it was Villa away, and we got in the black cab at the Birmingham New Street. I think it was station.
Yeah.
We got in and we're talking away to the bloke, the cabbie guy there, chatting away, and he's like, "Where are you guys from then?" And we're like, "Amersham." He's like, "Where's Amersham then?" About sort of half an hour outside London. Pulled his thing across. Didn't talk to us after that.
Oh, for God's sake!
Didn't talk to us because
we were so provincial.
Villa. God knows how many seasons ago, and we went in this pub beforehand, and then we went to the game. We came back, and we were walking to go back into the pub, and the guy was like, "What do you want?" I said, "Oh, well, we want to come back in and have a drink. You Spurs fans?" "Yeah." "Nah, sorry, mate." I said, "Okay, do you know anywhere we can drink around here?" And he said, "Well, you might try the centre, or you might fuck off back to London."
Lovely. Just jealousy. Just jealousy. Right? They don't get to live. They don't get to live in London. So, to be fair, the majority of cab drivers, and I'm not saying this again in a racial way, they just happens to be the fact that a lot of them happen to be Asians now in Birmingham, and they're lovelier. You don't have any of that stuff. I when I was up in Birmingham for a friend's wedding, again I was in the back of a cab. Driven, I think the guy was Pakistani. We were talking to him about it, and he was a Villa supporter. My friend was a Leicester supporter. I was a Spurs supporter. We had a right old chat, on the drive back from the wedding to the hotel. Really friendly, loved it. Said, "Hope you have a great weekend, guys." And all that stuff. It was lovely.
Did he think you were the guy from Breaking Bad? Maybe.
So I think he might have
done. I think he might have done. He asked me for something called crystal meth. I'm not sure what he wanted, but that's what he asked me for. So yeah.
Kev, Alan says, "Did you go to Rotterdam 83, 84?
Yeah, I was trying to reply to him in the typing box, but I don't think I'm registered to reply to him. No, I didn't. It's one of the games I didn't see that year. Don't know why. I had to pick and choose them. 83, 84. I stopped going to the away games by then, I think. I know I saw a lot of games after winning the cup in 81 and 82. I was in Anderlecht for the final in the 84 and saw That was in Brussels. I don't know why I didn't go to Rotterdam. I really don't. It's one of them strange ones. Yeah.
Maybe you got nodded the wink that it was all going to kick off, so it's best to stay away.
Oh, hang on a minute. 83, 84. Depends on the timing. I think. Yeah, I think it might have been. I think we had this come up somewhere else. I think my daughter was just born, and we just moved house. I think that's probably why. And that's probably the reason. We just moved house, and she was only a baby in a cradle. Yeah. I think that's probably why.
So we're laughing at the comments, Kev. Have a look.
I know, I can see that as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what, Cody? I started watching Breaking Bad. I got like 3 or 4 episodes in, and literally I couldn't get invested in any of the characters, so I gave up. I know what he looks like, obviously.
So you started watching The Shield instead? Good lad.
No, I don't. The Wire. The Wire's the one I watched, not The Shield.
That's the thing. I'm the opposite. I love Breaking Bad. Every time I've tried to watch The Wire, I've had difficulty getting that investment. I do need to sit and concentrate on it, but I've had the exact opposite of you. Love Breaking Bad, can't get into The Wire yet.
Really? Similar sexual habits to Jens, you and Omar. Dear, what are we talking about? So we picked up a couple of injuries, didn't we, yesterday? Moore and Stevie, they don't look good. Stevie's looked pretty bad, didn't it? Because he's come back from the one he picked up.
He's got glass ankles.
Yeah, he picked up the same injury from Holland. Moore didn't look good, did it? The whole body weight went down, his foot went the wrong way, so I can't see him being available.
And it's amazing as well. He wanted to carry on playing. That bloke is an unsung hero. I think.
Yeah. Quiz. You see that female did it the other day, and he's loving it. He liked her tweet. Tottenham Tantrum says he misses the Spurs side of the 80s. What a great
I agree
sign.
with that. Yeah.
They were filth every tackle.
Absolutely.
So commitment on the pitch, you know.
Yes. What did we make? Go on, Kev.
I was going to say, in my mind, my jury is still out with Galini. I've got some doubts about him. I don't know what it is.
That fumble, the second goal, terrible. Yeah.
With that first game against Paco, wherever it was, Ferreira, Rocher, that one. I just thinking, oh my God, he spills a few, you know, and I'm thinking, he's got that lack of concentration. I don't know what it is, but time might tell. Maybe he's nervous. I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's that one ball he tried seeing out a play and he nearly gave away to the opposition in the Paco de Ferreira game, didn't it? And ever since then he's looked a bit lacking in confidence. Maybe he's realised that he didn't realise the task he was up against, trying to shift Hugo when he first came over, you know. Yeah, absolutely. And he's realised what a good keeper he is now, and the
defence in front of him as well.
The defence in front of him, exactly. Yeah.
And exactly fit himself.
To be fair,
I can imagine a situation where he turns up at Hotspur Way and thinks, fantastic, what a club to join. And then they show him some videos of our games and he thinks, what have I got myself into?
Dear me. Before we move on to the ends quiz, any questions from the viewers? Any questions you want to throw out to the panel? Put it in the comments section there.
Why do we do this?
Why do we do this? Yeah,
as in support Spurs,
support Tottenham. Yeah, with this show.
Because I quite like chatting to you on a Thursday or a Friday night.
I'm sure that'd be a frequently asked question from the viewers.
For that, I speak for everyone when I say we're eternally grateful.
Yeah, it keeps him off the streets, doesn't it?
I didn't mean it like that.
No, I'm off out.
Right, cuts a few hours into your schedule before you get to go out.
Go get.
Haven't you got to do the tooth fairy bit tonight? Haven't you got to go and slip some gilda under the pillow? Whatever?
No, we've kind of worked it out that we do it a couple of days afterwards. So.
All right.
Has the daughter got Revolut? Yeah. No.
Sorry.
Has the daughter got Revolut? Ding. Yep.
What's
Revolut?
Revolut?
Has she got Revolut? No.
What's Revolut?
All the kids have got Revolut now, and maybe they haven't got it in England. No, bank transfer. You pay your kids in Revolut. You just
no. She's 5 years old, Kev. She doesn't have that.
Revolut.
Yeah, it's just money. It's past money. You pay your kids pocket money in Revolut and all that kind of stuff now.
Right.
Okay. She's got a great savings account in my bank account, which will be spent very, very soon.
So we got a question from Cody here. If Nuno fails, is Paratici gone? Does he go with him? How many seasons are we away from being successful again, in your opinion? Let's go round. Let's start with Rezimus Prime.
If Nuno goes, no, Paratici isn't gone. He will definitely get another bite at the cherry. But whether it will be his bite or Daniel's bite is another question. How many seasons are we away from being successful again? Depends. What do you mean by successful? Do you mean winning something? Or do you mean returning to a style of play that the majority of the fan base would be happy with? Depends on how you count success. We are, if we're talking about winning something, we can be a season away. We can win something this season. It's possible. Top 4 in a cup. We're 4 years away from top 4. Minimum.
Nah. Look at West Ham. They nearly snuck in there last year. They had one good season, didn't they? So if they can get their shit together.
Operative word is nearly. That's the point. Liverpool, Man City, Man U, and Chelsea this season are for a start. A cup. Well, that's the thing. Cup tournaments, a lot of luck. Luck can play a massive part in it. And maybe we're getting lucky because the goals we scored yesterday were pure luck almost. So who knows? Maybe we're going to be lucky. Maybe we'll win something this season in terms of a cup. So yeah. Well, 4 years ago I had a full head of hair, so it's the similar thing. It could be infinite. That's reliant on us actually developing an identity, an objective, a clear direction. Unless there is a clear direction that explains why we're playing the way we're playing. The clear direction is that Levy is looking to sell off the club or to wipe out the club's debts so that then he and Joe Lewis can sell the club. That explains everything about the way that we're operating. Everything.
Just tiding us over till they can sell us.
Yeah. Now, he has protested vociferously over the years. No, we're not looking to sell. We're not looking to sell. We want Tottenham to be successful. So he's either lying to us or he is horrendously incompetent. Neither bodes well for us. And I'm sorry to be the sort of harbinger of bad news, but that's the way I see it.
Kev, if Nuno fails, is Paratici gone? How many seasons are we away from being successful again?
He would have damaged credibility, that's for sure. Maybe he would have to go.
It's his man, wasn't it?
Yeah. So my answer is yes, he would probably have to go.
Jens, anything to add?
Collateral damage.
Yeah.
Kev, how many seasons do you think we're away from being successful? In your opinion?
3.
Yeah.
This is transition year, that's for sure. We might get lucky. But other teams can read us like a book. They know what we're going to do, and they can exploit that every time. We haven't got the capability to do anything about it. Chelsea are going to steamroll. That's another story. Chelsea are going to steamroll us on Sunday. I just know they are. And other teams are just going to follow suit. It's open season on Spurs.
Yep.
Jens?
Yeah, I don't 100% agree about that. That it's open season on us. We've had, as I said, we've had 2 not so good results. It doesn't mean that we're a bad team. We're missing a lot of players. But if Nuno fails, is Paratici gone? I haven't got a clue. Don't know how Mr. Levy's mind works. 1 minute we're doing this, the next minute we're doing that. I just think it's a big game to him. Yeah. How many seasons are we away from being successful again, in your opinion? I haven't got a clue. I can't remember who I was talking to earlier, but I was saying we hit the jackpot with Pochettino. We were we had the basic squad already, and then he brought in a few players. They agreed to his way of playing, and bang, it was lovely. Yeah, I'd say probably the way it's going, if Levy keeps signing these Muppets as managers, not that I'm saying Nuno's a Muppet just yet, I'm talking about fuck what it was before, then it might be a while.
Do you want to take this one first up, Jens? Next question from Tottenham Tantrum. Thank you for the question, Cody. And Alan, you said you're going to put yours in next week, and Tottenham Tantrum comes in with...
Oh, Alan, put yours in now, because I was talking to Alan earlier, and he was...
Scott M
we're here
says at
for,
least 3 seasons. So Tottenham Tantrum's question, if you could sell any player, who would it be? Winks and Davis for me.
That's 2 players, CT.
Oh, Mr. Pedantic.
Remember, Walter White is a chemistry teacher, so precision is important.
No, but to be honest, we haven't had Sean Davis in years.
True.
His name's Davies. But anyway, if we want to be pedants, then...
fucking nice.
Sorry, Tottenham Tantrum, taking a piss.
I think Davis.
So just one player?
Winks
and Davis.
Winks.
Doherty.
Doherty from the Irishman.
Yeah, good point.
Oh dear. Alan's come out of his question. You ready, boys?
Yep.
When you consider us as a football club, where and who should we be competing with in the transfer market? We've outdone by Leicester. Yeah, go on, yes.
I think Everton, Villa, and Leicester. We can't compete with the big boys.
And maybe, we can compete with them. We can probably just about oust them due to the stadium and the training ground.
Yeah.
And London, that probably helps us.
I'm not sure about Liverpool, Man United, Man City, Chelsea. Not sure that we can. If they come in, we're going to be blown out of the water. So.
We had a good run at the top table, but we've lost our slot and we're sliding. We're middling diddling now. It's trying to get back up there, but it's too tough. The others are copped on.
Weirdly enough, I think we're in a little slot of our own. We've got much more resource than Leicester, who are probably the strongest out of the Leicester, Everton, Villa tranche. We've got much more money in terms of turnover. It's not even close.
But to be able to spend,
that's the thing. We can spend.
Yeah, but not with the chairman.
Right? We won't spend.
Yeah, I know. We're talking. Yeah, absolutely. No, in terms of, in terms of what we have the ability to do, rather than what we have the willingness to do. Right? We can certainly compete with Arsenal. Without a doubt, they are the other club in the top six. Seriously, in the top 6 when it comes to turnover, we're almost the same. Now that we've got the stadium as well, we're probably above them in terms of turnover, and that's ultimately where all your money comes from. Really, even when you've got owners that pour money in, they're still loans; they're not actual cash injections. See you, Cody. So Spurs and Arsenal probably occupy their own little niche almost. Then you've got Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea and Man United, and then everyone else below. We shouldn't have any problems bringing in. I'm not saying we should have done them. We should have no problems bringing in Traore. It shouldn't even be a consideration. If someone said, if Nuno turns around and says, "I want Traore," the answer, they shouldn't have even held a meeting about it. It should have been a case of, right, he wants him, go get him.
Can we just get this?
Healthy, I'll shave my balls. Right?
Can we get the terms and conditions clarified here, Cody? Is the game against Chelsea this Sunday? If we beat them on Sunday, you will shave your beard.
Because we might beat them at some other point, and then you have to shave your beard.
Yeah.
Going back to what Scott M said,
I'm
not 100% sure we can compete with Liverpool.
Below United, Chelsea City, ahead of 11. Yeah.
Competing with Liverpool, with their history. I mean, I know that they have a similar they have a similar transfer
policy
to us, where they want to break even, but still, if someone wants to, if Tottenham and Liverpool come in,
yeah,
if they know their football, they'll go to Liverpool. If they want to live in London, they come to us.
We've got 3 doped clubs. One of them is doped because they were incredibly good back in the 90s at understanding the commercial potential of football and took advantage of it. Funnily enough, by employing someone who quit Spurs because the board wouldn't back him. And that's Man United. And Man City and Chelsea are just they're cheat code clubs. That's all they are, right? Below that, it's us 3. It is Liverpool, Arsenal, and Spurs. Yeah, there is. Liverpool probably carries more weight because of their history, because of the fact that they were the biggest team in the world in the 80s, and that carries over. And still are a big club, and they're never small. But we're not. We're just that tiny little more powerful, financially powerful than Leicester and Everton and Villa. And that's not to denigrate them. It's just circumstance.
Here's a question for you.
They've also got better scouting than we
have.
They're
much better scouting. 100 times. Yeah. Oh, far better.
Here's a question for you. It might be best placed to Kev. If Liverpool hadn't have got us kicked out of Europe, Kev, and other teams might have been able to go on and win things in Europe over the years that we were out of it, would Liverpool's dominance be recognised for what it was now? So other clubs might have chipped away at that dominance had they not
Everton especially.
Everton
and us.
That's right.
Nottingham Forest as well. The Forest were destroyed. They were a massive club back then. Well, they played us in the 91 Cup final, didn't they?
We were denied the opportunity, weren't we, on a few occasions?
Alan makes a good point. Can I address Alan's point and then think? You're absolutely right, Alan. Yes, Man U have always been a massive club. That's not in question. I think the difference has been because the modern football with the sort of Premier League era type thing. What they did is that they translated at the time something that was quite a small aspect of football, which was the commercial side, and turned it into this massive machine that it is now.
Yes.
Funnily enough, before the guy, I've forgotten his name, went to Man United, Edwards, I think his surname is, Spurs actually had the biggest chunk of commercial sales in football in the country. They were the most commercially successful club in terms of the merchandise they sold. And then Man United at the beginning of the PL era, it just all came together. So now they're financially massive as well as being massive in terms of fan base and history and all of that stuff as well. Whereas we are massive in terms of fan base and history and all of that stuff, but commercially we're not on the same scale as Man United are.
Going back to George Best, he was obviously marketable, wasn't he, when they were big in the 60s?
Especially with Baby Sham and Best Bitter and
but then back then it was more the player themselves that there was no such concept of image rights or anything like that where the club would get a slice of whatever you did. They might get something, they might arrange it for a fee, but they wouldn't necessarily with Dybala, with all that complexity when we tried to get him because of the image rights and stuff, or Bale and Modric, I think it is, when they went to Real Madrid, the images and the massive sponsorship deals now from the likes of Adidas and all of that stuff, the club and the player share in that revenue, whereas before it wouldn't have been quite like that. And they would, George Best would have been chucked a couple of thousand for an advert rather than now being paid millions to be the face of Best Bitter or Baby Sham or whatever it was he did.
Nivea.
I was just taking a piss because that's what he drank.
Oh, I see. Right, I didn't know he did that. But yeah, but the point stands. Yeah, there were players. There was a player who did Watney's Red Barrel or something. I think famous player. But again, it was such small fry compared to the ocean of money that exists now. It's
massive.
ridiculous how much money there is in there in so many places. And Man United took advantage of that at just the right time when it was all exploding, and have ridden the crest since then and have continued doing that. We just unfortunately didn't, and we're still playing catch up. You know?
Yeah, Alan says in the old days when he used to get back from away games, they used to meet the team in the old White Hart.
Yeah.
Big boozers
Where
in
was
those
that?
days.
Where's the White Hart? Was that a
Rudolph.
boozer ration?
That's opposite the ticket office.
Okay.
Yeah, it became Rudolph's, the nightclub.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But it was in a pub. I mean, yeah, even up to Paul. Apparently, Paul Stewart was quite notorious for going into the pub after a game and meeting fans and drinking with fans. Allegedly, I don't know if it's true, but yeah.
Yeah, Brian
Who's
Daigle,
it
mate,
now?
Robbie Keane, and who else did he meet? It was two of them. Fullback, Alan Hutton, Robbie Keane and Alan Hutton. Yeah, he met.
Oh
them.
yes, yeah, but that was in his neighbourhood, wasn't it?
That's right.
That wasn't in.
But Benny used to get his hair cut on one of the hairdressers on the high road as well.
Yes,
that was a bit weird, but
he used to take the tube there.
Yeah, he was the exception, though. I mean, nowadays,
he was brilliant. I love that bloke. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
I love the fact. He turned around and said, "I don't even like football."
Yeah, exactly. It's a job.
It's a job,
but he was damn
when
good
he
at
did it. Yeah, when he did it, he did his job. He was professional about it. So you can, if someone doesn't like football, you don't have to like football to play it.
No.
But if you don't like it, Tongi, you know.
Did you say he's a porn star now, Benny? Isn't he? Someone said.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was something mentioned along those lines. I'm not 100% sure that's true, but yeah.
I mean, I can see why.
Where did he go?
An unattractive boy.
Spurs. Can you remember? Did he stay in the Prem or did he go to France? Or
let's have a look.
Didn't he go back to Saint Etienne?
We'll Googleize him and see.
This could be your quiz for next week, Jens, but on Benny.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, Disco Benny. Why do we call him Disco Benny? I guess it's his hair.
Because of his hair.
The hair.
Because of the hair, man.
Because
he had the massive afro. He went on loan to QPR for a season.
Oh, with Redknapp and all that. Yeah.
And then went to Saint Etienne for another season. And then spent 2 seasons with Metz. That's right. And then until 2008.
He used to get the tube in, didn't he, and stuff like that. He used to tube, and he had a little, like Klinsmann, a little run around for donkey.
He's a good lad. I like Benny.
Yeah,
I like Benny a lot.
Yeah, same here.
See him come back.
I thought he was great. Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
Right. We've got one more comment here.
Question.
Always played better when he tied it up. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I did like that sort of like tight at the back and then this sort of flare behind his head.
Do you remember when he flicked it up onto his head and headed it back to Brad Friedel in the penalty area? Yeah, and I think there was an attacker close. Yeah. I mean, that was a guy who enjoyed his football and really didn't care that much, did he? And I kind of like that.
Same as Jimmy Greaves. He famously said he didn't like watching football outside of it, did he? He liked playing it, but he didn't like watching it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
You don't have to. I mean, I don't spend my time, sort of reading legislation outside of my day job. I don't like it necessarily. I do like bits of it. I'm not going to lie, but it's a job. You do it for money. If you're fortunate to love what you do, then you never work a day in your life. But there's no requirement to like it.
Speaking of older players, that brings us on nicely to this week's quiz. Frank Saul, are you going to get your lucky hat, Jens?
Yeah, no, I think I've already got it.
Yeah, I think that works.
My little hat. What is it?
Am I the scorekeeper again?
It's Olivia's.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All right. Bear with.
So, Kev, you get a mention in the first question here. Actually, are you ready? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. I've got to get my pen. There we go. All right.
Are we ready? Are you ready, Jens?
Come on. There we go.
So, as Kev mentioned last week, Saul went the other way to Southampton as part of the Martin Chivers deal in 1968. But how much was the fee on top for Chivers? Basically, it was Saul plus a certain amount of money for Chivers. How much was the transfer fee, Jens?
I know.
Oh,
20,000.
final answer?
80,000.
Kev, what's the answer?
Intercity 125.
Oh,
I'm going to complain to Olivia tomorrow.
Right. So you like this one then, Kev? I think you might.
Do it.
So why don't you ask Kev the bloody questions then?
Well, yeah, I'll ask. He'll get asked them after you if you can't get them right, right?
well, I'm gonna put Jens' score and Kev's score.
Yeah.
Okay, right, here we go.
Right. Question 2. Frank entered the Spurs history books against Burnley on the 4th of December 1965. How and why so?
He was the first player to be sent off for Tottenham Hotspur since 1928, I believe.
He was indeed.
Well
Did you know that? Did you know that, Kev?
No, I didn't. I was thinking about he might be the first Spurs substitute, but that's
Okay.
that's what
Johnny. Johnny, should we when you ask the question, should we get them each to answer
No,
and then reveal it?
no, because he's been swatting. I haven't.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, Rez. Right. Question 3. Who was the previous player famously sent off the Spurs in the game in 1928? Clue, he went on to be a club legend.
Arthur Rowe.
Kev?
Jimmy Seed.
Frank Brettle.
Cecil
disappointing.
Wilson. Yeah. He was the
Nice.
the previous one to get sent off.
God,
Can't
27
say I know,
years
sorry.
at the club.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, these quizzes are getting harder and harder and harder. Can't you just say how many games he played, how many goals he scored, and which international team he played for?
You've got all that written down on your Wikipedia. I've had to
Well, I haven't anymore because I know how difficult
I have to go over the Wikipedia.
It's just going to get more and more metaphysical until right at the end it will be, what is everything?
What is life?
And then the world will implode.
Meaning of life. Question 4. Saul famously had to wait 57 years to receive his league winners medal from the 1961 season. Why so?
Is it because he only played 14 matches that season and you were expected to play 15?
Kev?
I know there's a rule change in the amount of appearances you had to make. I thought it was just 6. I think he played in that season. In a double season, yeah.
Correct. Both of you.
Oh, sorry.
The rules at the time which required 14 appearances to receive a medal. The 17-year-old Ford only made 6 league appearances. The rules have since been relaxed by the FA, so they issued a league winners medal to Saul, and it was presented to him by
Tony Marshy,
wasn't it? No, it's Dyson.
No. Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Marshy got his the same year.
Right. Oh yeah. Terry Dyson presented it to him.
What is the rule now? Is it 6 now?
I don't know.
Or something?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Oh, okay.
Not too sure. I was going to look into it, but I was pressed for time. Question 5. Frank was only 17 when he made his debut up front in the famous 1961 season, with no subs at the time and opportunities to feature bit by bit. Which player did he replace due to injury in the team?
Bobby Smith.
Kev?
I would say Medwin.
Bobby Smith.
Well done.
As you said, I've been swatting, Kev. You haven't, so.
No chance. That's just pre my era anyway. I mean, my first game was 66, so I was only 9. I was 9
Alan
years
says
old.
the same thing like before my time.
Yeah. Just,
Question 6. Saul was one of only how many players used during that 1961 title-winning season?
17.
Kev?
I'd say less than that. I'd say 14. Because there wasn't that many players. That was 17. Well done.
17, that was on Wikipedia. Jens has got that printed off in front of him.
No, I haven't. I actually, because you said you don't use your Wikipedia anymore, I go to different websites now to get my information.
Cribber.
That's what stimulated your comment about all the shite on the internet, isn't it? You've just been scouring multiple websites.
And they're not all porn, I promise.
Question 7. Frank famously scored the winning goal in the 1967 FA Cup final victory over Chelsea. However, who set up and assisted his goal?
I haven't got a clue, but I'll guess Robertson.
Kev?
Cliff Jones.
Dave McKay for a long throw-in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Superb. Who was that Stoke player who used to do the really long thrown things? That's the one, Delap, yeah.
He was the one who ruined Ledley's career.
Yeah.
Chivers had a long throw. He could throw.
He
had a massive long throw.
Yeah.
It was a secret weapon.
Well, that was the problem. You wanted him in the box. You didn't want him taking
the throw. Yeah. He had a massive throw on it. He did. He could throw it at the penalty area easy. Yeah.
Nice. Question 8. Frank scored the winner, as Kev famously educated you. Jimmy Robertson scored the first goal. But which future Spurs manager started for us at number 10 in that final?
Venables?
Kev?
Yeah, sorry, Venables.
Correct.
I didn't even swap for that one.
No.
He was actually a boo boy at Tottenham.
Oh, was he? Because of Chelsea?
No, he was one of them players that he wasn't liked by a large portion of the crowd at the time. Okay. He was like the Harry Winks of his time. He wasn't liked by. He got booed.
We had a few of those as well.
Yeah.
Parrott was like that, wasn't he? Jimmy Parrott was his first name. Yeah, Parrott was like that. What's his name? Mike England as well.
No, he was all right.
Who would you compare him to sort of nowadays then, Kev, like as the crowd's attitude towards him, sort of in a current...
Harry Winks.
Really? Yeah. Venables was like that, was he? Blimey.
Yeah, he was
but Venables could play, couldn't he?
Yeah, he still had his detractors on the terraces. Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, I fell for that one. I walked right into that. Yeah, sorry. So was Harry Redknapp at West Ham. Yeah. He was the same.
Yeah,
the players used to say he's get the ball at halfway line, run to the corner flag, and didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. That was it. That was his game. Yeah.
I wouldn't really tell his players to run around a bit.
Yeah.
That sounds like Roman Pavlyuchenko.
Yeah. I think he's still playing. Do you know that?
Raymond, yeah,
he is. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Frightening. He's like
but he scored some quality goals. He did score some quality goals.
Yeah. He did against young boys. Remember, he pretty much kept us in that qualifying game.
Yeah, do you remember that free kick off the bar? I can't remember who it was against. That was that's special.
Alan
was
says
that the hokey cokey or
John Pratt? That's it.
Yeah, John Pratt used to get it as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
so
I thought John Parrott, but he's a snooker player, and I go,
yeah,
Pratt. That's right.
What was the official attendance for the Cockney Cup final that year?
Or the Cocky Cup final?
Yeah, I was going to say the hokey cokey.
How do the hokey cokey?
67,535.
It was always 100.
Boom. 100,000. Well done, Kev.
I reckon it was 120, 130,000 in for the Man City Spurs final.
Wasn't that the one that a load of Chelsea boys got locked out and we absolutely smashed them in the ground and that's why they hate us?
I don't know. I've not heard of the story.
I thought that was a story. But...
did Chelsea not like us? Oh.
No, because they got a boot wrapped round the red. They got a boot wrapped round the red.
Oh, poor little Chelsea. Poor little Chelsea fans, they get a bit hurting.
The old Wembley was always 100.
Yeah.
Apart from replays were night games and they made it down to 92. Because of
92,000. My God.
Blimey.
That must have been terrible.
Yeah. Chelsea Rent Boys. Question 10. The Spurs 11 that day was Jennings, Kinnear, Knowles, Mullery, England, Mackay as captain, Robertson, Greaves, Gilzine, Venables and Sewell. However, which club legend was the one named sub?
Gotcha.
67.
Kev thinks he's got it.
Yeah.
Jens?
You wait for me?
No, Jens.
No. 67. Bloody hell. Blanchflower?
Kev?
I would say Cliff Jones.
It wasn't Petter.
Yeah.
And you would be right, young Kevin. What was the scores on the doors then, Rez?
So 10 points available. Jens scored a magnificent 5.
Well done.
And Kev scored an equally magnificent 5.
Oh,
right. So we need to have a tie. I don't want to lose to Kev.
Oh, okay.
Tie break.
The tie break question.
Let me find a tie break. Talk amongst
No, that was a joke,
Yeah,
fellas. I'm good.
That was my era. That was my era, Ian. So that's pretty,
Yeah, no, but as I said, I actually swatted up today in the little time that I did have. I went on all of the. I hacked into John's computer, so I know which sites he's logging on to, so I can get all the answers.
Pornhub.
No, it's actually housewivesInRubberGloves.com.
Brilliant.
So here's your tie break question. Did Frank finish his career at Millwall? Did he play more or less games for Millwall than Tottenham?
Who? Sorry,
Jens. Frank Saul. Ended his career at Millwall. Did he play more or less games for Millwall than Spurs?
less.
It doesn't really work, does it? Because if
No.
Kev goes for less as well.
No.
I'm going to say he played less because he was at Spurs for 9 years.
Yeah, it was 6. Yeah.
Yeah, here's one for you. So
He was an outsider. Yeah.
basically, how old is Frank now? Let's do the how old is he? Give us a number. Jens, how old is Frank now?
78.
Oh my God, I got 77 because I was going to go 78.
Fucking hell, boys. That is 78, yeah.
You're both right. He's 78.
I said 77.
Yeah, but you
were going to say something. We'll have a tie, Kevin.
I thought I couldn't pick the same as you. Sorry.
Let's give them a point each. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I don't want another tie break.
It's fine, but I'll have you next week. I'll tell you.
Here you go. Yeah, I've got it. Right, so Frank famously scored in the 1968 Charity Shield final against Man United. Who got Tottenham's other 2 goals that day?
Chivers. No, because Chivers went to Southampton, didn't he? In exchange for.
They never played together.
I haven't got a clue.
Kev?
Pat Jennings, Jimmy Greaves.
One of the 2. Pat Jennings and Jimmy Robertson.
Jennings, yeah.
Pat Jennings and Jimmy Robertson. Charlton scored 2 for Man United and Law got the other one.
Wasn't that the one because we won? Oh, no, sorry. No, carry on.
Oh, that was the draw, wasn't it? And that's when they started sharing it, isn't it?
Maybe so.
First draw.
I know it's one that Pat Jennings got that beat Stepney,
scored the goal. So before we go then, we've been waffling on for quite a while. What's our lineup going to be against Chelsea? We've got no players left, have we? What's your prediction? What's the lineup going to be? What's your score prediction before we go? Jens, go first. We'll go around the houses.
Hugo. Reggie's fit, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie.
Christ.
I have a feeling Sanchez will be back. I also have a feeling Dyer might be back because apparently they're both doubtful.
Yeah, the dead leg. That's what it was in the end.
Yeah. Emerson, Højbjerg, Skip, anyone but that Harry Winks. Yeah, up front is really difficult. Brian Gill, Harry.
He'll have to play Lo Celso off the right, won't he?
Lo Celso if he's available. How many am I up to? On?
Yeah, it's the forwards, isn't it? Really?
Is it? Yeah.
What's your score prediction? Score and scorers.
2-1 Chelsea.
Who's scoring?
Don't think it's going to be a spanking. It's a derby, and the players will be up for it no matter how inexperienced they are. So I think we'll just manage to keep the score down, but I don't think we'll win it.
Kev, what's the score going to be?
Score 3-1. 3-1 Chelsea.
And who do you think is going to come in up front for us, particularly, I suppose, all over the part, centre backs as well?
Well, I've got Hugo in goal, Emerson, Sanchez, Dyer, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Skip, Tanguy. I think they might start with. I'm hoping Son, Dele, Kane, and Lo Celso, but I'm not sure about Keel. I think he's too lightweight for this game, and I don't know if Son's going to be fit or not. I don't think he will be, but I'm hoping he is because he's an outlet.
Question marks over so many of our players, isn't there?
Yeah.
A bit fitness-wise. Alan's gone for 3-0 Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's gone for Lo Celso on the right there, and Romero Sanchez.
Yeah.
Reggie Royale. I think that'll be not far from the team that plays. The other option he's got, I said to someone earlier, is playing 3 at the back and then playing Dele Alli off Kane up top, and then you haven't got to worry about the wingers. Though. We haven't got any wingers. If Moura and Stevie are injured, he can play Tanguy in the middle as a 3 then with Skip and Pierre Højbjerg. Play those 3, and then you can play your wing backs with Romero, Sanchez, and Rodon at the back.
If you can get the ball, if you can get the ball to Ali and Kane, things might happen.
Yeah.
If you can get to feed them, they might produce.
So I'm thinking he might play Dele Alli right up top of Kane, as we haven't got any wide forwards.
Yeah.
Depends if he fancies throwing Lo Celso straight back in, then he could play Hill. I agree with you, Kevin. I don't think he'll put Hill in against Chelsea. So I think you have to go 2 up top one in, and Dele's the only other one that can play out there at the moment. Really, Dele and
Who would Hill play against on the left-hand side? Who's their right back?
Azpilicueta.
I thought he was playing in the centre now.
Reece James.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. It's like it could be Reece James or what's his face. There's that.
I quite fancy Hill to.
Oh no, I'm thinking the left side.
Get psyched up and run rings.
Yeah, him and Reguilon down that left hand side.
I reckon he'll play 5-4-1.
Yeah.
No, I reckon he'll play 1-10-0-0.
Can he afford to though, Rez, with all the criticism over his pragmatic nature so far, the last couple of games? Can he afford to?
Yeah, he can, I don't think he. I think that ship has sailed. I think that ship has sailed in terms of style. He's going to listen. I said it to my boss as a Chelsea fan, and I had my weekly one-to-one with him today, and I said it to him. Chelsea are lethal at the moment. Yeah. Absolutely lethal, right? The only way you can beat Chelsea right now is to knock them about a bit, and we don't have the players for that. The only destroyer we've really got is Tanganga, who's suspended, and Højbjerg. The others are just not that type of killer.
That'd be nice,
Yeah, I mean, Dele.
What Alan said, that would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But so for that, I think he has to play defensive and try and get them on the counter.
Yeah.
And he'll probably have Pierre, Skip, Dele, and Tanguy as a midfield 4, and Kane alone up front. And Kane's going to be isolated. He's going to keep dropping back to try and make something happen, and we're not going to get anything.
That's
I honestly see 3-0.
He's going to have to play wing backs and any rest just to get the supply to Kane to get Reguilon and
I mean, Reggie's form has been really bad this season. terrible. I mean, I look at him and I think this guy is supposed to be the next left-back superstar, especially after his time with Sevilla. And Emerson is, all right, let's say he is the attacking fullback that we want. He's still new to the league.
Yeah. So he played Doherty.
Yeah. Ooh.
No.
I can't see him playing again after last night.
No.
We'll save him for the Wolverhampton game on Wednesday.
Yeah. The glorious homecoming.
Yeah.
So what's your score prediction, Rez?
3-0.
3-0.
Chelsea.
Jens 2-1. Kev, what was your score prediction?
3-1.
3-1.
I hope.
I think Alan's right. I think we'll get that atmosphere, but I don't think it'll do us any good.
I can't see a scoring, to be honest. I think 2-0 Chelsea.
Well, to be honest, I heard that Brian Dayble's there tomorrow, so I have a feeling that the atmosphere is going to be lifted by about 50,000% because that bloke can shout.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there.
At least it's the last game of the weekend, so we don't have to mope for the whole till Monday. You know, we can just go to bed on Sunday night thinking, well, there you go.
And then have we got Wolves Wednesday, have we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's away, isn't it?
Bit of Spurs to look forward to, in the midweek. Yeah.
So then it's Wolves away and then Arsenal away, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Rez, can I just ask, are you holding someone outside your window?
It's my cigarette. No, it's my fag.
Okay.
It's because the atmosphere is a bit smoky, and that's why I've opened the window a bit. And I
thought you were going to jump.
I thought you were holding someone by the neck, and you were going to be like,
Crocodile Dundee.
I captured a rogue Chelsea fan. I'm just holding him out here just to teach him a lesson in humanity.
Dear me, yeah. So on that note, come on, you Spurs, and good luck against Chelsea.
Come on, you Spurs. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.